on Tuesday, Nancy, we're having Dr. Temple Grandin back live.
Great.
And so it's the only time she'll be on with us in the month of April this year. She's going to be here, and I still need questions, you guys. I know everybody wants to write in and ask her a question live. That isn't really the best method for her. In fact, Temple usually asks me, get the questions ahead of time, because I'll tell you what will happen. Somebody will write in and say, it happens in every show that we do. Somebody will write in and say, how do I get my child to sleep? Right? And then somebody else goes, oh, I want to ask a sleep question too. But that comes in. So we answer the first sleep question, then we move on to a question about reading comprehension, and somebody else wants to talk about sleep. And it's like, if we just knew that all the questions somebody wanted to ask about sleep, we could cover all of those at one point. And that's really how Temple likes it. And Temple is also someone who likes to answer your questions about whether it's her opinion, being a person with a diagnosis, or to get inside the head of the individual that you're either, whether it's you or somebody else, to help you with real world strategies. She doesn't want to answer questions that are clinical or medical, because she will tell you that is not her area. And I really respect her. But she feels sad if you write her about something that's clearly a clinical question that you're dealing with, and it, it's for her, as it would be for anybody. If somebody wrote to you and said, I don't know what to do because, my arm is in pain, and you're not a doctor, you feel bad. You feel like, I don't know what to do for you. So that's why she wants us to curate the questions. So I'm taking questions right now. You can either write them in for Temple here, or you can send them to me at s.penrod@autism-live.com. Now, Nancy, you've gotten to interview Dr. Grandin, and I think you're a much better interviewer than I am.
Oh, I don't know that, but
well,
I did get to interview her several years ago, and found it to be a fascinating experience. It's just amazing to be able to get a glimpse inside that complex, wonderful brain of hers. And
amazing lady.
Yeah, and she's very open and honest, and what I found to be incredibly direct.
Yes. Oh, yes. And she'll let you know if she doesn't like the question.
Right.
She doesn't. Like, she's very good with boundaries. I feel like every time I talk to her, I learn about boundaries, that she'll say, no, I'm not going there. No, I'm not interested in talking about that. I'd rather talk about this. She's a great lady. She's a lady of grace. But if you could ask now, even though you've interviewed her before, if you had a question for her on Tuesday, what would your question for Temple be? I'm putting you on the spot.
Okay, honestly, I guess I would ask her, given all of the national attention that she's gained, what is she happy about that? Has that enriched her life, or would she prefer to go back and not be? As I said to her, you're arguably the most famous person in the world of autism. And what that limelight, whether she would choose to go back and not have that intense focus on her own personal story. I'm interested.
I think I'm going to ask her that on Tuesday, because I want to hear her answer. I can guess what I think she would say, but I'd rather hear it from her. When I talked to her the other day, and she's been a year at home, like all of us.
Okay.
And she's somebody who goes and tours, and usually has like one talk a week that she does. And, she gets on planes and she goes places and she does the talks, and she always talks about seeing people in the airports and talking to people in the airports. And she's been a year of not doing that. And the other day when I talked to her to firm all this up, she was telling me that she said, I'm getting off the phone with you, Shannon. I'm going right to the airport, because for the first time in over a year, I'm getting on a plane to go someplace to do a talk. And she sounded so excited to be able to do that. I think she's genuinely missed it.
Uh-huh.
Um, so, but it would be interesting. I'm going to ask her the question to hear, my favorite question that I ever asked her, and I could kick myself because we weren't on camera
Uh-huh.
when I asked her this. But it was the first time that I interviewed her, and I was so nervous. You could have bounced a quarter off my head, and it was so. I was waiting to interview her because somebody else was interviewing her, and then she was going to have lunch, and then I was going to get to interview her. And she came through the door and sat in the lobby of the hotel directly opposite me. And I stood up and I said, Dr. Grandin, I'm going to be the next person to interview. And she said, no, 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 I'm having lunch first. And I said, yes, 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 yes. No, you're having lunch, and then I'm interviewing you again with the boundary. I love seeing that the boundary. And I said, I just wanted to introduce myself. I will be the next person interviewing you. And she said, okay, great. And then and then I sat back down and she went back to her work, and she looked up and she said, well, I'm going to lunch. Would you like to go with me? And I was like, and everything in my being wanted to say, yes, I want to go have lunch with you. But I knew that my crew was arriving and we had to set up. And so I had to be a responsible adult and go, I'm so sorry, I'm not able to go right now. And she was like, all right, another time. But later, then we were in the room and we interviewed her. It was great. Then we started taking all the lights and the camera down. And she and I were just sitting and talking. And the question I said to her, I said, do you think you're going to stop teaching at some point? Are you going to retire from teaching and just be a speaker? And she said, no, no, I'm not going to retire from teaching. And she said, teaching is what I do for myself as a woman. That's what I do for myself. That's who I am. I'm a teacher. I'm never going to stop teaching. And she said, besides which, the only reason that you're all interested in me, the only reason why people listen to me as a voice of someone on the spectrum is because I have a job. I'm working a job, and it's a job I happen to be really good at.
Mm.
And she said, but if I stop doing that, none of you would be interested in me. And I always think about that and think that, especially her saying, that's what I do for myself as a woman.
Right.
Ooh, that was just a
Yeah.
powerful,
Very
powerful moment. And to see, that inner, she said, I'm a teacher. That's who I am. And I love teaching. And of course, we didn't know at the time, but now it's been disclosed that when Temple goes and speaks, and she commands a pretty high speaking fee,
Fee.
all of that money goes into a scholarship fund. So none of her students have graduated with debt. She gives scholarships to her students, which is insanely beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Just insanely beautiful. Can you tell I'm a huge fan of hers? Anyway.
Everybody should write in their questions because it's a rare opportunity to get
Yes.
inside the brain of this remarkable woman who has been such an influence in the world.
And you'll all be frustrated with me on Tuesday because you'll be writing in questions, and I'm not going to attend to those. I'm going to attend to the ones that were sent beforehand. So if you want a question answered, send it to me now. Thanks for watching Autism Live. If you found anything helpful in this video, please give us a like. In fact, make sure that you smash that subscribe button on YouTube and give us a like on Facebook. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram for important updates. And please download our free podcast wherever you get your podcasts. See you next time. Until then, give your kiddos a hug from me and one for you too. Bye-bye for now. To subscribe, click here. And if you'd like to check out some more of our videos, click here.